Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Soul and Social. My name is Tarah, and I am here with my most fabulous co-host, Renee. And we have a very special guest joining us, Mr. Allan Knight. Allan is actually a personal friend of mine, and so I'm super excited to have him here. He is a former Zen monk turned communication and personal development expert. He has over 25 years of experience coaching, training people to transform their communication by empowering themselves. He has a master's degree in education from McGill University and has created a 9-step formula for entrepreneurs called Connect with Power. He's also the author of Mind Gone Wild and founder of the Soulmate Revolution. Allan has a unique way to help you take your knowledge and finally apply it to action with fast-track results and methods to sustain the benefits long-term. Welcome, Allan. So exciting to have you here.
I think you lost my video.
Oh, I see you still.
Oh, you see me?
I do.
You're just frozen with a smile on your face.
Because I can't see. It's now black on my side.
Oh no!
Oh no!
But it doesn't. I don't have to see me as long as everyone else sees me.
Let me check. I'm just going to check the live feed. You two chat.
It captured you in a very appealing shot. You look very happy.
Well, I'm happy to be with both of you here. It's great.
Thanks so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. So what's the show exactly all about? What's the main purpose of the show?
Well, we kind of started off just as a platform to kind of talk business and just all sorts of things. It was called the Canadian Social when we first started. And Tarah and I kind of found that there was a pivotal moment for people in their lives that kind of took them into a different direction and, brought more soul purpose and, more soul, more social. There's a lot of social and soul business. Holy crap, I need coffee.
You need my communication training program.
This is what happens when you're on holidays and your brain is like in slow-mo at the moment.
Right. I understand.
It's that mountain air.
How could I be of service to you two young ladies today?
Oh, Tarah, that's a tall order, Allan.
Oh, it is. Well,
I'm here to serve.
Absolutely. Well, I know, Allan, you and I have had an interview before on a different platform. So this is the first time we've had you on the Soul and Social. And it's actually really exciting because we are at episode 10 today since we've made this shift. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you must have like millions of followers by now.
So many.
Like 200 million.
It's hard. It's hard because we go away and they just follow us now. Like, can I get your autograph? And it's craziness.
It is.
Well, I'm honored to be here.
Well,
Thanks,
we're grateful to have you here. Yeah. So I guess I bumped our paths with Allan, I don't know, a while back. And he's got this book out, Mind Gone Wild. And I think it's a really cool book, Finding Freedom Within the Chaos. And Allan is a former Zen monk. So Allan, I would love for you to tell our viewers a little bit about your experience of being a former Zen monk, because as much as I know a little bit about the history, they may not. And I think it's a really cool story. So I'd love to share some more.
I became a monk because I was afraid of sex. So I became a monk.
That's one way to do it.
So what would you like to know exactly? I'll shut this down here.
Well, I guess tell us a little bit more about your experience with that and how you became to doing what you do now, because you've got the Soulmate Revolution, which we're going to talk about. And, you turn communication coach and you do help people a lot with self-mastery. And that's, one of the big things that your book is all about. And yeah.
Okay, I'll share a few things. But before we do, when I look at the camera, are my eyes looking at you, or if I look at you, am I looking at the camera now? Which way works?
Allan, you are frozen with a nice smile on your face. Kind of like this.
So you don't see me. You don't see the video.
Well, we see you, but
okay, that's all you need.
Frozen.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
I'm going to try a couple things here and see if I can get it going, but just keep talking.
Okay. In a nutshell, when I was 13 years old, my mother was diagnosed with cancer and told she had 6 months to live, and she lived for about 20 years. And she was my first role model of the power of the mind, the power of the human spirit, the power of the soul. And when I was 19, my father died, and I was in university at the time, and I traveled around the world I was kind of lost. I didn't really know who I was and what I wanted in life. And so I traveled the world and I came very close to dying on the desert one day. And that changed my life, because from being an atheist, I started to explore my personal development journey, my spiritual journey. And when I returned to Montreal, where I'm from, I met these people in a bookstore, and they had these big, beautiful eyes, very, very clear eyes. And I said, I want that. I want that kind of peace and tranquility. And so I went to visit them, and I moved in and became a monk and lived like that for 9 years until I missed women too much. So I left the monastery after 9 years. Could you imagine how stupid I was? It took me 9 years to figure that out.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's the first part of my story. Does that get us going?
Renee, do you have any questions?
So what is it like being a monk? Like, maybe you could explain a bit about that, because I totally get the light in people's eyes. And I have a feel, like, for me, eyes are the window to the soul. And I think you can see a person's heart through their eyes. And so I understand what would drive you to that. But what was it like in the 9 years that you were living like that?
Well, it's an interesting question, because obviously I've learned, when I returned into society, I was a bit of a basket case, because when I was a monk, I learned how to calm my mind, how to center my mind, experience deep levels of contentment. Is there a noise there?
Yeah, there's a vacuum behind me.
That would disrupt my monkhood as well.
I'm in a lounge that's closed, and they're vacuuming at the moment. So yes.
Tell them to stop. Tell them to stop. Right? So I'm just teasing. So basically, when I came back into society, I realized quite quickly that unless I integrated the benefits of getting in what I call the Zen zone with every part of your life, it's going to be limited. So I started to, went back to get a master's degree in education and counseling psychology from McGill. And
wow.
And my thesis was the quality of relationships with other people starts with the quality of relationship you have with yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's been my modus operandi ever since. And so in stages, I started to train people in different aspects of life. And eventually, over a 10-year period, I created a 9-step formula that helps people not just get in their Zen zone on a consistent level, but mm-hmm. build inner confidence and master their communication, because I believe communication, 80% oozes out from the inside. So for the last 20 years, I've been teaching people how to master the art of communication from the inside out in their business and in their personal relationships. In a nutshell, that's what I've done.
I love it.
Any other question, girls? Or can we end the conversation?
Are you not having fun with us today, Mr. Allan?
I'm having fun, and the vacuum cleaner is a beautiful piece of art.
Beautiful addition to the show. Yeah. Exactly. I know, that's the fun with these lives, right? You just don't know what's going to happen. You're frozen, and we have a vacuum.
It's part of what I teach people, how to deal with the obstacles of life. And now I only see you. I've lost Renee.
I'm guessing she's probably trying to move somewhere where there isn't a vacuum.
Oh, I see.
In the Wi-Fi. Yeah. So, Allan, let's talk a little bit about your book, Mind Gone Wild. I've had the opportunity to read it. You've got a process that you take people through, and I know that you've got a program that you offer that kind of goes alongside this book. Is that kind of correct?
Yeah. Basically, in the book, I go over a bit about my background and how I became a monk, and a little bit about the training industry and why I felt compelled to create the 9-step program. And in a nutshell, the book serves like a training manual for my training program. And I think what makes it unique is that at some point I looked at a lot of coaching that existed out there, the life coaching and rah-rah seminars, and they're all very, very valuable. But I felt what was missing was how do you apply all this? You can learn a lot of things about spirituality and self-development, and you read books and you get pumped up at seminars. But at the end of the day, when you want to get physically fit, you got to get in the gymnasium. So I wanted to create the equivalent of an inner and verbal fitness workout. And it was really developed through the 9 steps. So when I teach people, not only do they fast track their ability to develop personally, but then they have a self-coaching system for life. So it's quite unique in that way.
That's so awesome. So the Soulmate Revolution now.
Where's Renee? Where's Renee? I miss Renee.
Well, she's watching here. I can see she's on. So I'm not sure if she's just trying to find a new location or if she had some issues with the Wi-Fi there. She's on vacation right now. So she's joining us from Banff. Okay, so Soulmate Revolution. I love the Soulmate Revolution, the concept. We've talked about it before. I know there's been a lot of advancements, I think, since the last time we spoke about it. Give us the goods. Give us the goods. What's it all about?
Well, the interesting thing about the Soulmate Revolution is that my passion, ever since I was 19, I was much more interested in personal relationships than I was in business. It just turned out that when I started my career, I ended up focusing for some reason on entrepreneurs and training and coaching because they also need communication skills and personal development skills. But a while back ago, I decided that I'm going to finally start the Soulmate Revolution because I felt there's a real need out there in heart-centered relationships, both from men and women. And I wanted to do it in a very tangible way because as I listened to a lot of people talk about draw your soulmate in and all that, great. But a lot of information, a lot of awareness, a lot of talk around it. So the Soulmate Revolution really focuses on the 9-step program, which again talks about how to tap into your own inner soulmate as the foundation to draw in your high-level relationship, your true soulmate. And when we talk about soulmates, of course, I understand that we have many soulmates. We have friend soulmates, business soulmates. Tarah, and you and I are probably soulmates. But what keeps people up at night is not, I can't wait to meet my business soulmate. You know, I don't think that's what keeps people up at night. Most people want to meet that great connection, that great romantic soulmate connection for life. And so my goal is that we help attract 100,000 soulmates in the next 10 years through the soulmate training and eventually the soulmate network.
Well, and I love that. And, you know, and I can agree with you. I've found that I've attracted many connections in my life, whether it's colleagues, friends, you know, various relationships, and I find it's kind of interesting. It's like you get to a different level in a different place, and then you seem to attract more people that are in alignment with that. So Allan, what's one of the things that you find hold people back from finding their soulmate? And I know obviously going through that program, they're going to just fast track to doing so, but what's the biggest thing that you find that does hold people back?
Well, it's an interesting question because a lot of the people that I'm working with now, they've done a lot of work on their personal development and their spiritual development. However, sometimes there's subtle things that hold us back. And I think when at the end of the day, a lot of it has to do with being too hard on ourselves. I think it has to do with certain kind of belief systems that we still hold on to. I was talking with a wonderful woman yesterday who is a coach, and she's an amazing person. And as she was talking to me, she said, "Oh, my business is great, but," I said, "Well, what's holding you back? Is anything else holding you back in your life?" "Well, maybe you can help me with my relationships." I said, "You seem like you're so amazing and wonderful and positive." But she said, "Yeah, but I can't, I'm very picky and I can't find a great relationship." I said, "Look at what's coming out of your mouth. I can't find a great relationship." So that tells me that she's still holding on to some belief systems that say, I can't hold on, I can't attract a relationship in my dreams. So there are obviously some subtle things. And she says, "Well, could you do an assessment and an evaluation on me?" And I said, "We'll do it Saturday." So when I do an assessment, we get clear. When you rate yourself on 25 areas of your life, you get really clear on what's holding you back from creating that vibration and that unconditional love toward yourself, which is the foundation of attracting that love. A lot of us, when we look for love, we say we want love, but we're often looking for mommy and daddy in a younger body. We still are looking to get love and get respect because we haven't gone to the deepest level of unconditional love toward ourselves. That's just the number one thing holding most people back.
Mm-hmm. I love it. That's awesome. It's perfect. I mean, I wish you weren't frozen right now. That would make this even more awesome, but the conversation's still great. So this is awesome. So, Allan, you've got these steps in your book that you go through, and one of the ones that I'm drawn to, of course, is, I guess it'd be step number 3: connect with your vision. Because there's that quote that what is it? Vision is the art of seeing the invisible, and I think that's something that's really cool. And I know as I was reading your book, you talked a lot about vision boards and putting those things in your life. How can you explain a little bit more to people? Because people read about this, they see this. When did you start to integrate that into your process and realize that it made such a difference?
Well, the 9 steps that I put together over a period of 25 years, really there's a logical sequence to them. Like number 1 is connecting to your present, looking in the mirror and saying, where am I strong? Where am I weak? And that's why we do the evaluation that we do. It's like an x-ray. Number 2 is connecting to your past. But before you could move toward vision and all the positive elements of the life you want to live, a lot of us are being held back by the psychological and emotional crap from the past. So in 2A and 2B, I have Zap the Past exercise that help you to significantly heal some of the stuff from the past, so that it opens up the room for number 3, which is connecting to your vision. Because now that we've let go some of the negativity, now I'm freed up. Now I could look at who the heck I am, where do I want to go. We teach people an impact visioning process along with an emotional attitude that says nothing is going to get me off track from living the desired lifestyle that I truly wish to live. So that's where we teach people how to build their vision muscles. 1, 2, and 3, within a week to 10 days, you're done. It's easy peasy. 4, 5, and 6 is where the heavy lifting is. But vision is very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I love. Did
I get you off track there? Did I?
Well, Dr. Rebel tells me this sometimes. Sometimes when you start downloading, your thoughts come out faster than your words, and then I'm like, oh, well, now you maybe have another interesting question that I wanted to ask. So it was kind of, my process was going.
Does your mind sometimes get too hyperactive?
I think I just get excited, And I'm like, I'm still like that 5-year-old, but I'm like, oh, Eve, that was exciting.
That's good. That's a good attitude to have. That's great.
Curiosity, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
I think it's excellent. That's excellent.
So what's your take, Allan, on reframing questions? Because that's one of the things that you talked about. You said one of your clients that you're working with, you're like, listen to the words that you're saying, listen to what's coming out of your mouth. One of the things that, I've been really paying attention to lately is the type of questions that I'm asking, like suggestion you had made, why am I not attracting the right soulmate? Maybe that's not the right question to be asking. Do you find that that's something that you use with people at all?
Well, when it comes to listening, asking creative questions and listening, and again, it goes back to why in the 9 steps, I've waited to step 8 to talk about verbal and communication mastery, whereas step 1 to 7 is all about empowering yourself, accepting, respecting, loving yourself like your own child. When you get to a very high level of self-mastery that comes at number 7, now you're living in almost continual calmness, contentment, presence of mind. And when you have those qualities working for you, you become a much more effective listener and questioner. So if I'm speaking to you, we go out for a coffee. If you ask me questions, I'll answer them. But when I ask you questions, I shut up and I'm silent and I'm all yours. I'm listening to you. I'm attentive to what you're saying. If I'm attentive to what you're saying, then I'm aware of what's going on. I'm going to be better able to respond with good, effective questions, not just jargon, just for the sake of filling the space. But I'm going to be able to look at you and say, on a dime, I might say, this girl is sad and lonely. I'm just teasing. I know you're not. But if I know you're sad, if I feel you're sad and lonely, I'm going to try to draw you out so that you feel better about your just being able to talk and get things off your chest. If you're scatterbrained, then I might jump in and help you to stay on track. If you're a big ego, I might boost your ego a little bit or whatever. I'll be more assertive so you'll respect me. So I'll be able to respond with effective listening and questioning, because I'm living in that freedom of the zone. I'll go with my intuition. But if my mind and emotions are out of control, I'm not going to listen well, and therefore my questions won't be that. I don't know if this answers your question, but that's how I feel about empowering your questioning and listening skills.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that. And I think that's ultimately where the power of the breath and meditation comes in. It is that training so that we can, recognize when we're in a state that we can take that deep breath and calm ourselves back down so that we can respond more effectively.
Well, yeah, that's true. However, just like I learned in the monastery, meditation is not the be all and end all, because sometimes people who still have psychological and emotional crap, they then turn to meditation and temporarily it might calm down. But unless they've dealt with the healing and the self-development and the inner fitness and the self-confidence and building your own personal power and your actions, it's a holistic approach. And just running to meditation won't solve it for all people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I do agree with that. I understand what you're saying with that. Totally. So, Allan.
Allan. Yes, Tarah.
Okay, so what's your number one tip? What's your biggest tip that you would love to leave people with?
I would say today I could have different tips for different days, but you're asking me today, so I'll use my intuition. I would say my biggest tip of the day for anyone who's listening to this program is that the number one most important thing, if you want to live your life fully and extraordinarily every day, is to first and foremost get fed up. Get fed up with mediocrity. Get fed up with personal patterns that might be dragging you down. Get fed up with blaming others and blaming everybody else like Donald Trump or your spouse or whoever it is for your unhappiness. Get fed up and finally take charge of yourself in a holistic way so that you could juice every day as if it's your last day and really live that way consistently. So get fed up with mediocrity is my tip for the day.
I love it. I've been fed up a few times in my life, so I like it.
I'm talking about getting fed up and then putting it into action, then taking action.
Yeah, absolutely.
Consistently, Tarah.
Consistently. That's the key, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Repetition, consistently.
That's part of it.
But what do they say? They say it takes 60-some days to change a habit.
Well, that's step number 5.
Think that way.
That's step number 5, which is action and accountability. That's where that fits into the 9 steps.
Awesome. And once again, just so everybody can see, this is the book, Mind Gone Wild. Allan, where can our viewers get your book?
I have some good news. My new website is up, allanknight.com, ALLANKNIGHT.com. And if you go to that site, you can access the 9 steps. So there'll be a download every 2 days of a little mini video so that you will get an overview of the 9 steps and get updates on communication mastery stuff. If you're interested more in the Soulmate Revolution, you could go to soulmaterevolution.com. Oh, one last thing I must say. When you go to the Allan Knight site, we have launched a Be a Coach certified program. So Tarah, if any of your listeners are an existing life coach but don't have a program, or someone who really aspires to be a coach, we want to have hundreds, if not thousands of people around the world teaching the 9 steps. So that link is now on the Allan Knight site.
Perfect. I'm excited. I know you've been working on some stuff behind the scenes for a while now. So
I've kept it from you.
Always holding me back, eh? Keeping me in the dark. That's awesome. We will also drop the links below where you can find all the information about the Soulmate Revolution, where you can get your copy of Mind Gone Wild, and where you can find Allan Knight. And do you still have your radio show? What
I'm doing, people go onto my Facebook. I have heart-to-heart communication where I decided I'm not having a regular show like you, but what I'm doing, like today, I'm interviewing a very amazing woman out of California. And when I meet people that I want to interview, I'm just going to interview and upload on my social media. That's what I'm doing now.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
Heart to heart live, it's called.
Heart to Heart Live. That's awesome, because I know you're connected to some very amazing people and you have definitely some amazing conversations I've listened to in the past. So we can also drop the link for everybody to find more about that.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, this show that you did today, will that be sent to me so I can upload on my social media?
Absolutely. It will be. Okay. Yes.
Good.
It will be here right on the page Soul and Social, and then it gets uploaded to the website, to YouTube. And now that we have 10 episodes, we'll be heading on over to iTunes and a few other places.
Wonderful. I really acknowledge you, and I wish you all the best. It's going to be a fantastic show, I know.
Thank you so much, Allan. And it was an honor to have you on episode 10. Even better, hey?
Oh, that's great. Say goodbye to Renee.
Yes, Renee. She is in Banff enjoying some time away. And yeah, it's too bad that she wasn't able to be with us the whole time, but the vacuum got in the way, I guess. So
Wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Allan, on the Soul and Social. To our viewers, please share this out, like us, heart us, tell your friends, and join us again next week for another episode. And look for Allan's links below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.